What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now it's time to talk about King Kong ain't got shit on me. Luis Ortiz, heavyweight division, let's go. Now, there's a lot going on with Luis King Kong Ortiz. Initially, he was slated to be on the Canelo versus Liam Smith undercard. So basically, it's been reported that Luis King Kong Ortiz wants out of his promotional pact with Golden Boy. Now, there's a lot of fighters from other areas outside of the US, and what they do is they have like joint packs. Like, let's say Rigondeaux, he was working with Caribe Promotions and then also Top Rank, because if you came in with a smaller promoter, there's only a few promoters you've seen, like with 50 Cent, guys like that, who tried to get into the boxing game and then he later filed bankruptcy. It's not an easy business, you know what I mean? There's like a couple major promoters, and that's really Al Heyman. PBC was so like Lou DiBella, Top Rank, and Golden Boy. And then other than that, you have like Main Events, K2, and a couple other guys under there, Gary Shaw, stuff like that. And it gets harder and harder once you get below the Gary Shaw level of promoting. So that being said, Caribe Promotions, Luis King Kong, he's with Dade Promotions. It's harder to land the mega fights and get your fighter to superstardom if you're a smaller promotional outfit. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So you'll see a lot of fighters from other regions who came in the game with smaller promoters, like David Lemieux. He has like a management company, Eye of the Tiger, and he still uses them with Golden Boy, and his former promoter was suing him. Rigondeaux had the Caribe and then Top Rank, and then same thing with Luis King Kong Ortiz. So that smaller promotional outfit is trying to buy King Kong Ortiz out of his contract, a la Floyd Mayweather, what he did when he was unhappy with Top Rank. So bad signs for Golden Boy promotion. The reason I say that is because the stable is very limited. Ever since Al Heyman split and Richard Schaefer and he went to do his own thing, their stable has dwindled down. They were no longer hosting cards with Amir Khans and Abner Mares and Leo Santa Cruz and Adrian Broner, Gary Russell Jr. All those people vanished and they went solely on the PBC side. Golden Boy didn't get to see a dime. And then you look at Golden Boy's premier level names. They have Canelo Alvarez, who's getting a lot of backlash for his last two picks and obviously avoiding the Golovkin fight. You look at David Lemieux, who in his first title defense, they put him in there with Golovkin. Okay, he had heart. Then he got dismantled for every single round, right? And then he lost bad, got stopped, lost his belt. Golovkin's going on to fight Kell Brook, and he went on to fight Dominic Wade. David Lemieux bounced back with the win, but before that, he was supposed to fight James De La Rosa, and he missed weight. Then they finally got him on the Canelo Khan undercard. He beat Glenn Tapia pretty easily, and he's kind of on the comeback trail. He's probably going to fight Curtis Stevens, which is a good fight. Then Lucas Matisse got stopped by Victor Postal. It was an embarrassing, like kind of quitter-like performance from Lucas Matisse, someone you didn't really expect. When your nickname is the Machine, you don't really expect that, you know what I mean, a machine to give up. But I guess that night it was a glitch. He didn't like Postal style, and he said he had an eye injury, whatever. But the bottom line is this: the massive stars that are with Golden Boy are, some of them aren't in good light, some of them are taking recent losses. They got other people like Mauricio Herrera. I thought he looked terrible. I was actually surprised, not taking anything away from Frankie Gomez, but that was also on the Canelo Khan undercard. And I mean, for a guy like Herrera, who most people, including myself, think he beat guys like Danny Garcia, his other fights with Jose Benavidez, I thought he won that fight too and didn't get it. But to see that type of performance from Herrera on the Canelo Khan undercard versus Frankie Gomez, he just did not look good at all. So I don't know what is up with that. And it's kind of slim picking. So their heavyweight star, because they have the Chinese dude that's 7 feet tall, but he ain't really even fought nobody. I don't think there's something up when you got a guy who's 7 feet tall and they said he's so powerful and stuff like that, has a good trainer. I think he's with Buddy McGurk or somebody like that, and you're not pushing him. To me, there's something up with that. That means, to me, he's not what he is. He's not as advertised or something, because there's no reason you would be making a killing right now if you start putting Tashawn Dong or whatever his name is in some high profile fights with Deontay Wilder or whoever. But to me, that stipulates, since they're not really, I seen him, last person I seen him, he fought like a King Hippo, Butterbean looking dude, and he knocked him out. It was just a weird fight. But I haven't seen him in with really anybody, not even like a Seth Mitchell or Tony Thompson type of person. David Price, nobody. I ain't seen him fight nobody with a name. So to me, there's something up with him. So it's clear to me the powerhouse is Luis King Kong Ortiz. If you really think about it, he's a great fighter. He showed some different things that I didn't even know he could do. I didn't know he could get on his toes like that, right? And he did that in the Bryant Jennings fight. He started bouncing, had a little Muhammad Ali, rest in peace, swag to his movement with his legs. I was like, wow, okay. This big ass 240 plus pound dude could get on his toes and do like the Apollo Creed. That's crazy, because he clearly has power. He clearly can box. And then he did what Klitschko couldn't do, and he really just took it to Bryant Jennings and hurt him in the first round. Jennings came back great in the second round, but then over time he just kind of bounced back, and Jennings didn't have the proper legs. And I know Jennings, that's my dude. Shout out to Bye Bye. But he's not a dude you sleep on, and he's a dude that's year-round in shape and ready. He's a vegan. He lives the lifestyle. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I was even more impressed, because I know what type of threat, with limited amateur experience, I know what type of threat that Bryant Jennings is if you're not focused. He beat Mike Perez, right? He beat Spilka, knocked him out before Deontay Wilder did. So to see King Kong Ortiz like break him down like that, when he was game, he was in shape and everything, that was very impressive. So to me, I think Golden Boy is kind of sleeping on a golden egg, and now that golden egg might get away. And I don't know if he would go to the Al Heyman side, Rock Nation. I don't know if Dade Promotions or whatnot just wants to manage his career solely. So I don't know what their game plan is, and I'm not gonna make any judgments on that because I haven't heard anything. But if they come to an agreement, which usually it's like this: if a fighter doesn't want to be there, a lot of promoters aren't going to resist. And see, this is the thing where I think Golden Boy is missing the mark, because to me, when you have a fighter like Luis King Kong Ortiz, he's clearly marketable. And to me, when I hear promoters say, oh, this guy or this guy isn't promotable, that's bullshit, because I used this example before. If you consider yourself a master barber, and that's actually a term, because I did a lot of work in the barber industry with video editing. I used to work for P. Diddy's barber, personal barber. He's cut like Will Smith, Usher, all the people, right? So if you're a master barber, that means you're at the top of your game, right? You could cut any type of hair. If it's a white person's hair, if it's a black person, Puerto Rican, somebody who's mixed, if they have long hair, short hair, nappy hair, thinning hair, they're balding, you can cut that hair. You can do with the tools that you have, with the clippers or whatnot, or the scissors, or however you cut, razors, you can get the job done and cut their hair. That's why they go to cosmetology school and all, the hair school or whatever. You could cut the hair. So to me, I don't want to hear anything about promoters saying this guy is unpromotable. I don't believe that. Give me $75,000 and tell me to promote Luis King Kong Ortiz. I'll make him a Facebook page. I mean, look at me. Everything I've done with Boxing Ego, of course, with the fans and the support from the fans and people that have helped me along the way, and those people know who they are. But this is all, for the most part, self-made. The Boxing Ego brand. I got up here and started bumping my gums on YouTube and made something with it, and now I have over 40,000 subscribers. I have over 30,000 fans on Instagram, about 10,000 on Facebook. I have a Twitter following, and people hit me up during the fights, right? This is all self-made, and I'm not even I'm the one talking about these different fighters, right? I'm not the one that's actually lacing them up and fighting all these fights. I'm just giving my thoughts on fights and news and breakdowns and stuff. Luis King Kong Ortiz is the talent. He's the one that's lacing them up. He's the one knocking fools out. He's the one doing that. So it's him, and his team, of course. But that's the thing. If I could self-promote myself, if guys like Ken and Briggs could self-promote themselves to the point where they may get a shot with David Haye I mean, if the David Haye fight doesn't happen, it's really not because of Kenneth Briggs. It's because maybe he doesn't want to fight him. But he's almost landing a big fight off self-promotion. So you mean to tell me a promoter like Golden Boy, Top Rank, or whoever that has been in the industry, they can't promote a Rigondeaux? They can't promote a guy like Luis King Kong Ortiz. They can't promote this fighter or that fighter. I don't want to hear any promoter can't. Can't's not even in my vocabulary, right? You can't promote a fighter. Yes, you can. The thing is, like, for me, again, give me 75. If anybody got 75 racks for me and they want me to promote the hell out of Luis King Kong Ortiz, PayPal me, give me a private message, and we'll get it cracking. We'll see if I could promote somebody for 75,000. You know what I mean? But anyway, the bottom line is he's promotable. I would probably get him in some English courses, because if you're in the States, learn the common language. When in Rome, do as Romans do. So that's one thing I would definitely do. And shout out to Gennady Golovkin. Hey, no, guys, when he first came, like, let's say after the Proska fight, and it was like he was getting mad at the interviewers when they always wanted to go to a translator. But Golovkin, he stuck with it. He stuck with his English, and now his English he's very understandable. But before, it wasn't like that. I used to hear him, he'd be like, hey, no. I'm like, what? Like, what did he say? But he stuck with it. I'm sure he got a tutor or whatever he did. But shout out to guys like that. Miguel Cotto too. A lot of people sleep on this. If you're not a long time fan, Cotto, his English was broken as fuck. His English sound trash. But now you can understand him. He could do a face-off. Even like his face-off with Sergio Martinez. Martinez couldn't speak English, but he could also speak the Spanish, right? So that's my point. That's one thing I would do for King Kong Ortiz. And I don't even know. Maybe he speaks some English. I don't know. I never heard him speak English that I can remember. But I would do that because that's all they should. That's a given. If you're a foreign fighter from another region and you're trying to make a name in the States, learn English. Period. Kovalev, all these guys did it. Canelo needs to do it. It's just a given. You know what I mean? It goes hand in hand. Like, if you're going to fight in Mexico all the time, why would you not try to learn the common language, right? It just doesn't make you want to be a star in Mexico, then learn the common language. So that's one thing I would do. The other thing is you could put together a King Kong highlight reel. I watched this fight with Latif Coyote. Latif Coyote went the distance with, I think it was Antonio Tarver, who later tested positive for something. I think he tested positive in that fight. But Tarver, a guy who slept Roy Jones Jr., he couldn't get Latif Coyote, who was training with Freddie Roach at that time, he couldn't get him out of there. But King Kong Ortiz did in the first round, right? And I just mentioned earlier the Bryant Jennings performance. Those are great performances. So I know there's probably other guys, lesser guys than Latif Coyote and Bye Jennings and stuff, that King Kong really stretched. I don't know. I haven't watched all of his fights, but I'm sure there's some archives you could string together. I do the video editing. That's nothing. So you could string together a cool little highlight reel, because the motherfucker has power. He'll get you up out of there and separate you from your senses. You know what I mean? He'll knock some change out your Coinstar. Believe that. So that's easy. You know what I mean? When it comes to highlight reel, he's not in there like looking pretty and not worried about getting punched. He'll knock your block off. So to me, I think Golden Boy kind of, like I said, missed the mark with Luis King Kong Ortiz, because fighters like that, you should try your damnedest to keep happy. I'm not saying kiss nobody's ass, or I don't know if there's an unreasonable demand. I'm not saying you have to meet those, but a lot of energy that I've seen, you see it with the exposure, is put into Canelo Alvarez, which is great. Canelo's a good fighter, but he's also, he's such a good fighter, I think Canelo is probably more limited. And what I mean by that is this: he's in a division where I think there's a couple people that may be able to beat him. I'm not saying 100% they do, because that's why we love boxing. But there's some threats. There's some real life threats in or around his division. Canelo versus Demetrius Andrade. Very difficult fight. Canelo is short. I met Canelo. I met Demetrius Andrade. Andrade is tall, right? He's a southpaw. He has a slick style, so he knows when to be offense, when to be defense. He can stand in front of you and still miss and slip shots, or make you miss and slip shots, right? Charlo brothers, other guys that are big, like that in the division. J-Rock, those are all tough fights. Gennady Golovkin at 160. I think even a David Lemieux would be a very tough fight just because he can crack like he can, and his offense is so good, right? But you look at Luis King Kong Ortiz, and now I'm not saying their heavyweight division is alive and well, it's on and popping more so than it has been in probably a decade or better, right? Since I honestly, when the heavyweight division fell off for me personally was when Lennox Lewis retired, and I wasn't even a Lennox Lewis fan, but that's when I seen it crumble, and it was just Klitschko's or bust. And if you weren't a Klitschko, you were getting your ass whooped, and the heavyweight division was whacked. There was nobody that was, even though the Klitschko's lost and stuff like that, Lamon Brewster and stuff like that, there just was no emerging stars like there were in the 80s and 90s. The Tommy Morrisons, Ray Mercers, of course, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, Chris Birds, and you didn't have all these like different names like of different people. You know what I mean? Razor Ruddocks and stuff like that. So the heavyweight division fell off, but oh, it's back. And the thing is, what the comparison I'm making with Canelo is this: I see a lot more people that could beat Canelo's style. Even Edeslandi Lara, a rematch, he might be able to beat him more decisively. I thought he beat him in the first fight. That's just me personally. I gave it to him by a round or two. I think he didn't do himself favors when he led off his offense, but I still think his early rounds did enough to win the fight, even when Canelo turned it on and started smoking him to the body. That's just my personal opinion. But what I'm saying is, the Canelo style, I see more people that could probably beat him based on the competition in and around his division. When I look at Luis King Kong Ortiz, I truly see a dark horse, and I think whoever, I'm not saying he's invincible where no one could beat Ortiz, but they're gonna have to work for it. If it's Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, Vladimir Klitschko, Tyson Fury, any of those dudes, those top level guys, I don't see King Kong Ortiz just laying down. You know what I mean? And in fact, I think he could beat some, if not all those guys. I don't know, because I have to see him like take a shot from a guy who has power like Joshua or Wilder. But he's up there. In my book, he's up there, and he certainly could possibly be the best, if not one of the best, top crop of heavyweights. So to me, that's what I'm saying with this whole golden egg. Golden Boy's missing the mark. Now you got a fighter who doesn't even want to be affiliated or part of the Golden Boy movement, and that's a gem, because while you're sitting up here giving Canelo exposure, that's great, that's fine. Canelo skill, from a skill perspective, and all the threats that I just mentioned, he's more likely to lose as he steps up than Luis King Kong Ortiz. That's to me, that's really how I see it. That's really a toss-up. If King Kong Ortiz steps up, like if he fought Anthony Joshua now, I don't think that Eddie Hearn would even want that fight for Joshua now. If Eddie Hearn's watched any Luis King Kong Ortiz fights, he would not want that fight for Joshua. Guys like Dominique Brazil and guys like Charles Martin, those guys were unproven. This guy is 30-something years old, is hitting like a mule, comes from the Cuban decorated background, has better names. Like you look at, let's say, Charles Martin's resume, Dominique Brazil. Who's the best names on their resume? Amir Mansour, Glaskov. And then you look at Luis King Kong Ortiz. He has Tony Thompson now, who is solid, been in there with Klitschko. He upset David Price 2 times, got smoked, knocked out brutally, right, by Luis King Kong Ortiz. You look at Bryant Jennings, another person who was in there with Mike Perez, a guy who like kind of permanently disabled somebody, Magomed Abdusalamov, right? And Bryant Jennings beat him, but then lost to King Kong Ortiz. Went the distance with Klitschko and with limited experience, and after he lost to Klitschko via decision, he got stopped by King Kong Ortiz. So, you know what I mean? To me, I think Luis King Kong Ortiz is the real deal. I think he's really the dark horse. And like I said, I studied boxing. I really watched this sport. When he got on his toes for the Bryant Jennings fight, it was almost scary to me, because I was like, what the hell? Like, you know what I'm saying? You ever see one of those movies and like something is revealed, there's a plot twist, or somebody all of a sudden has a magic power or something? That's kind of what it was for me. It was one of those aha moments, like, oh shit, like, did he just start using his footwork? Oh hell no, this dude is really a problem, because he was already hitting hard, and then on top of that, he could do the Ali shuffle type movement with his feet. That's really a problem. So respects to King Kong Ortiz. Hopefully he gets his situation worked out, whether he stays with Golden Boy or leaves him. But to me, I think Golden Boy, it's not a good look if he loses if he leaves Golden Boy and gets with Al Heyman or something. And the funny thing is, everyone always says, Al Heyman, he's a cancer of boxing. Heyman sucks, man. And you see other fighters with other promotional entities and they're unhappy for whatever reason. Rigondeaux left Top Rank. He's no longer working with them because he didn't like how he's being treated. You look at Chavez Jr., who did fights with Top Rank, left. Miguel Cotto, who left Top Rank, then came back, had a couple of fights to resurrect his career. And then he left. Now he's with Rock Nation. You look at Mikey Garcia, legal battle, stayed on the sidelines just to fight Top Rank legally in the court system. Finally gets released. He's on PBC. I think he signed with Al Heyman. I don't think it's ever been officially announced. I think he's with Al Heyman. He was on the PBC card, but I don't know if it's ever been officially announced that he is with Al Heyman. But regardless, he left Top Rank. That's the whole point. You know what I mean? And then you look at Golden Boy, and if they lose Luis King Kong Ortiz, their stable's already dwindled down where they don't have that many top level stars. There are some people that are on the up and coming, but they don't really have other names that they have are Gabe Rosado. I think he has like 9 losses. He's a warrior, but facts are facts. He has like 9 losses. Then Jesus Soto Caras is signed with Golden Boy, a guy who had to go to BKB. You have to look at stuff like that. Soto Caras got stopped by Keith Thurman. He got stopped by, who else was it? Marcos Maidana. He beat Berto in the 12th round, knocked him out with one arm. And he, like I said, he got stopped by those guys, went over to BKB. There's no top level boxer going to the BKB, which is not even, it's like a hybrid UFC / boxing type of arena thing. There's no top level boxers going to that because you're not going to make as much money in the BKB as you can in the boxing world if you're elite. You know what I'm saying? That's why you don't see Keith Thurman, somebody who's undefeated, going to BKB. It's usually for people whose careers are on the backside. And now Soto Caras had a war with Kamagai, a guy that Robert Guerrero beat, and they're doing a rematch for it. So that's fun. It should be a fun fight, but this is really not a meaningful fight. It doesn't. If Kamagai wins or if Soto Caras wins and there's no draw this time, are you going to say they're the best welterweight and Soto Caras is ready? Let's say Soto Caras beats him. Is he ready to avenge his loss to Keith Thurman? Can he beat Keith Thurman now? And when he just got stopped by him, when Keith Thurman, like many fights ago, before Keith Thurman had fought Sean Porter, fought certain guys, you know what I mean? Do you really think that fight means anything? So to me, it's an uphill battle for Golden Boy at this point because their biggest star is Canelo, who's getting a lot of backlash for who he's fighting and who he's avoiding. And to lose a talent like Luis King Kong Ortiz, to me, is not a good look because I think he has the skill set where a lot of heavyweights probably don't want to rump with him or not going to want to get in the ring with him because he's that type of monster. That's just my personal opinion. You guys let me know what you think of Luis King Kong Ortiz. I will update you if he does officially get released, but they're trying to get him on the Kovalev Ward undercard. I don't know what they'll have to do, if they'll have to sign a promotional pack for a year, a couple fights with Rock Nation. I don't know the particulars. I will update you, but that's my little synopsis and summary of Luis King Kong Ortiz and his current situation. Drop everything in the comment section. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.